Hey guys, we are on cell phone today. I'm going to say it's a technical glitch, but I just straight forgot my laptop at home. Happy New Year. You won't hear the callers, but you can hear me. Good morning, folks. Happy New Year and welcome into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company with service centers in Lincoln, Omaha, Papillion, and of course across the country on the Schrock Desk, across the Schrock Desk on the country. Across the country on the Schrock Desk. All you have to do is give us a call on one of the service centers and we can get remotely connected and help you with your computer problems. Right now, we're also live streaming on Facebook at facebook.com/Schrock Innovations. You can pick up the show there, make comments. I'll do my best to respond to those comments as they're posted. A little tricky sometimes when I'm, doing all these things at one time. So we have a pretty cool show today for you guys. You may or may not be aware that the Consumer Electronics Show is ramping up in Vegas. So we're going to tell you what to expect coming out of that, and maybe what not to expect too. We'll have some stuff there. Also, I promised you guys a crazy awesome sale. I promised you that in 2019, the 20th anniversary of Schrock Innovations, we were going to have crazy sales every month. Crazy sales. And we have a crazy sale for you today. You don't have to take advantage of these crazy sales. You don't have to do the stuff that we talk about. But if it was something that you're like, wow, I've wanted to do that for a while, I can promise you that the sales that we're going to put up this year are sales that are not going to come back anytime soon. Maybe at 30 years, maybe 30. But, after 20, you can go 25. You can make an argument for 25 as a big anniversary. But then once you get there, it's like 50 is the next biggie, right? So I don't want to wait that long. So take advantage of these offers that we're throwing out there. We've put it up on Facebook, but the big sale that we have this week has to do with your hard drive, and we're going to talk about that coming up on the show too. Also coming up on the show, your Secure Updater has patched your Adobe Reader for you. The Acrobat Reader is a program that just about everybody has on their computer. It allows you to open PDF files, and the Acrobat Reader is used extensively during tax time, as almost all tax preparation software prepares your tax return and says, here's the PDF copy you can open. PDF is an Adobe Acrobat document that you can open with PDF Reader, Adobe Reader. And so basically, if you don't patch these programs when these updates come out, these critical bugs allow the bad guys to get access to not just your documents, but your entire computer, not because you're doing anything wrong, but just because this outdated piece of software is on the computer. So we're going to talk about how to get that update from Adobe, maybe if you don't have Secure Updater, and also the benefits of having Secure Updaters, how you don't have to worry about this kind of stuff. So that's kind of cool there as well. Also, there has been, I don't know if any of you guys watch the financial news or anything. I had a revelation this week. Through a mistake on the dial in my truck, I have XM in the truck, so sometimes if I want to listen to news for national news, and it's not top of the hour, I'll listen there. I accidentally turned the dial one notch too far, and I went to a business news channel. Do you know on business news channels that they don't yell at each other? You ever get tired of that? Like you're learning to listen to news, and there's two people, and they're like, rah, 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 and the other person's like, rah, 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 well, Judy, rah, 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 rah. No, you're such a misogynist. You just back and forth. Nothing ever gets said. Nothing ever gets done. No one's going to change anyone's mind, and you just feel dumber for the exchange, right? On financial news, there's this underlying practicality to it. Practicability? I don't think that's a word. But practicality to it that, okay, so whether you believe this is going to happen or that's going to happen, or whether you think this should happen or that should happen, how is this going to impact the markets? And it's like, they don't argue about that. They're like, oh yeah, it's going to be it's going to hit the market. It's going to hit the market, but it's not going to be terrible. Nobody comes out and just says, that the sky is green. They don't come out and say that kind of crazy stuff because, there's actual numbers and data to back up things. So it was kind of interesting. So this week I listened to a little bit more financial news. They still cover all the big stories, but they just cover them through a different prism. And I found it was a lot. Of course, you do get bored sometimes because like an economist comes on and he's like, the third quarter GDP was lower than the second quarter GDP, which can be a leading indicator that we are moving into a downtrend in the global economy. And you're just like, Bueller, But then you hear some interesting stories about like what happened to Apple this week. If you're an investor, you know that I saw the funniest headline I saw was this week Apple lost to Facebook. They lost a Facebook worth of value this week. I mean, they got cut in half almost since the downtrend started. So what happened? Well, what Apple said in their release for their numbers or whatever, their press conference about why they did so poorly, that the reason they did so poorly was because iPhone sales in China cratered. So then the big thing was, why is it iPhone sales in China? And then you learn all kinds of interesting stuff. For example, they're like, is it a nationalistic thing? Is it the trade war? Are people in China fed up with people in America and they're not going to buy American products anymore? Bum, bum, bum. And then some other guy comes on and he goes, I don't really believe that because, I'm a big believer in Yum Brands, you see. And I'm like, Yum Brands? I know that from somewhere. What's a Yum brand? Oh, and then he goes on to explain. Yum Brands, they own Kentucky Fried Chicken, Taco Bell, Yum Brands. And Yum Brands are opening a KFC in China more than once a day. A new KFC opens in China. Chinese people love fried chicken, apparently. And it's an American thing, apparently. I guess I didn't realize we invented fried chicken. I mean, the chickens have been around for a while. The oil's been around for a while. You'd think somebody would have, chocolate and peanut butter, they would have figured that out. But no, apparently fried chicken is considered to be an American thing. And as a result, KFC's opening restaurants. So he said, watch Yum Brands, because if you see Yum Brands profit warning on China sales, that would be an indicator that all things China, people are just upset with America. But until they won't eat our fried chicken, everything is just fine. I mean, you see, that's the kind of uplifting stories you get on financial news. But to bring this all full circle, what happened to Apple? Apple... They missed big time. They were like $9 billion short or some crazy number. And I'm not a financials guy. I did listen to Business Radio this week. But I'm not a financials guy. But the thing is, the problem that Apple has is people aren't upgrading their iPhones anymore. Because the iPhone that you got last year or the year before, especially if you bought the high-end model with the extra memory in it, is just fine. There's nothing wrong with it. Apple has made it incredibly difficult for you to fix your iPhone because they know if your iPhone breaks or has a problem or an issue, they are very, very dependent on your phone breaking to force you to buy a new phone. Same thing with their computers. The new MacBooks that you can get right now. Oh my gosh. If you have a screen, okay, so everything is security keyed together. So if if you crack your screen in your laptop, you crack your screen, you bring it in, and we replace the screen for you, we have to have access to a super secret Apple security reset piece of software that allows us to reset the security settings so that your computer will recognize that screen as a legitimate screen. The only places that have those super awesome secret reset utilities are Apple stores or Apple authorized resellers or repair centers. To become an Apple authorized repair center, you must be a minimum distance from any other Apple repair center. Unfortunately, we are across the street in Omaha from Village Point, so when they say, what are your locations, and we list our locations, and one of them is a block away from an Apple store, they're like, and it wouldn't matter if we were a mile away or 10 miles away. Literally, if Apple customers in Lincoln are told to go to the Apple store in Omaha by Apple when there's a problem. You have to go to the Apple store in Omaha, make an appointment. Don't miss it. Don't miss it by a minute. So yeah, it's frustrating, guys. So the thing with Apple this week is they missed on a lot of sales. They have finally this cycle has been broken of, hey, I'm sure Apple tried to make it up. They raised the prices of their high-end phones because see, customers who buy the high-end phones don't buy as many phones, you see. So what Apple is going to start doing now, expect the high-end phone prices to stay about where they're at. You're going to pay $1,100 or $1,200 for the new great big giant awesome iPhone, but you're going to see diet iPhones now. Yeah, that was kind of funny. This article is on ZDNet, and oh golly, the same slightly smaller iPhone with the same great taste. It's like it's a diet iPhone. So why aren't people upgrading? Well, there's a lot of reasons. Plus, most of it is that the old models work perfectly, or at least good enough. People spend a lot of money on their old phone, and they don't necessarily see the functionality of buying a new one. And there's all these anecdotal examples of people who are tech early adopters, even who are just like, no. And did we not last year we talked about how right now I'm streaming this on a Galaxy Note 8 phone. I didn't see a need to go to the Galaxy Note 9. I mean, I paid literally almost $1,200 for this phone when I bought it, because the Galaxy Note is a business phone, so it's got some extra features, and they believe because it's a business phone they can demand a little more for it, and heck, I paid it, so I guess they can. But when they come out with the Galaxy Note 9 for $1,200, I'm thinking I dropped $1,200 a year ago on this phone. I'm not buying a new phone right now. This phone works great. There's no problems with it. It's not slow or sluggish or doesn't lock up, or the touchscreen works great. There's no reason for me to buy a new phone. Is that going to change magically next year? Well, they're talking about the new models of phones that are going to be talked about at CES this week. And the things I'm reading, like literally some of the phones in Asia now, you can set your cell phone on the table. And you know how you can get wireless charging, where you put your phone on the wireless charger? Well, some of the companies in Asia are putting wireless chargers in the phones themselves. So you can take your watch off and set it on the back of your phone and charge your phone battery from your watch battery. And they're saying that's the next big thing. And I'm like, if that's the next big thing, I'm going to have a Galaxy Note 8 again in 2020. 2020, 2020 will be a Galaxy Note 8. So, what am I looking for? I'm looking for 5G. I want to get a phone that has a 5G receiver. That would probably be the one thing that would make me buy a new phone right now. Even if I don't have 5G coverage in my area, I might drive somewhere that has 5G coverage just to experience it. Because you get a new G about every 10 years. So there have been 2 Gs since Schrock opened 20 years ago. We had 3G, which allowed you to actually browse the actual real internet on a mobile device, really slowly. But if you ever get stuck in a bathroom somewhere and there's only 3G signal, you remember how slow that is. 4G then came out, which is what we have now, the 4G LTE, which is much, much faster and actually allows you to use your phone for shopping and consumerism. 5G is going to allow you to use your phone for everything and anything. 5G is going to bring real-time connectivity to robots, for example. Mobile robots in the field can be literally remote controlled live by a human being because the internet connection is so fast. So it's going to really open up some huge possibilities. It's going to be amazing. 866-496-8772. So we got a lot going on the program today, guys, but in the midst of all that, I did mention it is the 20th year anniversary of Schrock Innovations, and we do have a crazy sale to talk about every month this year. This month's crazy sale, you've heard me talk in the last year about solid-state hard drives. And in the last couple months, I should say, solid-state upgrades have literally become the most popular upgrade that we do at Schrock. So when we do a solid-state upgrade for a customer, they bring their laptop in and they say, Thor, it's running really slow. It's running slower than it used to. And in all the Meltdown and Spectre vulnerabilities over the last year, your computer is running a lot slower than you probably even remember. When you hit the power button on your computer, it should not take your computer 30 seconds to get to the desktop, and then once you're at the desktop, that doesn't even mean it's ready to go. It takes another 30 or 40 seconds for it to load all the the programs in the background and do its get all its antivirus loaded and everything. You're a minute, 2 minutes, sometimes 6 minutes to get the computer fully booted. We had one on the bench in our service center this week that took 22 minutes to boot. It was ridiculous. So if your computer is in that boat, the main thing that you can do to speed it back up again, you don't have to buy a new computer. This is one of the great things. This is like the iPhone, the Diet iPhone, right? You don't have to go out and buy a new computer, especially if it's a modular computer. All you need to do is replace that hard drive inside with a solid-state hard drive. Now, regular hard drives that you have now are mechanical. They have spinning disks and moving arms, and all that spinning and moving and actuating, that all takes time. And all these times are measured in milliseconds. So, I mean, you would think a millisecond is pretty quick, right? Well, 500 milliseconds to seek is a half a second. And then every time it has to go back, if there's a half-second latency delay, that adds up to full seconds really quickly, which can add up to half a minute really quickly. So the long and the short of it is, if you get a solid-state hard drive in your computer to replace that mechanical hard drive, your computer is going to run up to 16 times faster than it does right now. That's without doing any other upgrades or any other maintenance work. That's just simply taking this old hard drive and then we clone it over to the solid-state drive so you don't lose anything. Your programs are there, your settings are there, your files, your pictures, your music, your email, your contacts, it's all there. Just exactly like it was before. If it wasn't for the fact that you knew in your head that solid-state hard drive was in there, you would not be able to tell, aside from the performance, obviously, that the solid-state had been installed. It's completely the same. and then you take the computer home and you enjoy boot times of 10 seconds from power button to completely loaded desktop ready to go. When you do things, if you've ever typed on your computer and as you're typing, you look at the screen and all of a sudden the screen catches up with you because the computer is slow processing your keystrokes. That doesn't happen when you have a solid state hard drive. You can take the junkiest, oldest Black Friday computer from 2 years ago and you can put a solid state hard drive in it and you can make it a respectable machine. So solid state upgrades do not discriminate based on the quality of the computer that we're putting them in. They don't discriminate based on the type of computer. We can put a solid state in a desktop. We can put it in a laptop. We can put it in an all-in-one. We can put it in a Mac. It doesn't matter what you've got. And Macs especially, if you have an older Mac and you don't want to go into Apple right now and shell out $5,000 for a new MacBook Pro, wow. Why don't you just put a solid state hard drive in your old MacBook Pro from 2013 or 2014 and make it work darn near as fast as a new one? It's amazing, guys. So here's the deal. Right now at Schrock Innovations, if you come in to get a solid state upgrade on your laptop, we're going to do them for no labor. All that work I described, all the cloning, tearing it apart, installing it. Mac users, it's not fun. Tearing apart iMacs is not fun. But we usually charge labor for that, right? So you have the cost of the hard drive plus the 1 to 2 hours of labor to install it and clean it and configure it and everything. Right now during this sale, there is no labor. We have never in the history of Schrock Innovations had a sale where we'd give away labor. Never. Labor is what pays our bills. That's what keeps our lights on. Now, here's the thing. You guys have helped us keep the lights on for 20 years. I think it's time for us to do you a solid. So we're going to drop the labor off of the solid state upgrade, so it's just the cost of the hardware. Some restrictions apply. For example, we will install hardware that you bring in, but you can't get that in the sale. You have to buy the hard drive from Schrock to get the discounted labor. That's the first thing. There's a lot of reasons for that. Some of them, the biggest one, honestly, is when we put a solid state hard drive in, they are 6 times less likely to fail than a rotating disk hard drive. When we put that in your computer, if it does fail and it's your drive, there's nothing we can do about that. If it's a drive that we sold you, we can replace that drive at no cost under all the warranties and everything else. It makes life a lot easier. If you have a computer from Schrock that's covered under a warranty and we install a solid state in your computer, that solid state also inherits the warranty from your computer. Keep in mind, guys, that computers made by Schrock Innovations in the last 2 years have all come with solid-state hard drives. So if you have a 2017 or 2018 modular computer or solid-state laptop, solid-state laptop, it has the solid-state drive in it. So there isn't really a reason for us to do that on your computer. You don't need to take advantage of this sale. However, if you have one of our older computers, like a 2007, 8, 9 holiday special that started coming, that's when the solid states were brand new technology, and it had a small solid state to boot from and then a large storage drive, those solid states are incredibly slower than the newer solid states. So those computers, older computers that have solid states, can benefit from the increase in speed from a new solid state. Solid state drives do wear out over time. With all that said, guys, this is unbelievable. I'm going to throw another asterisk on there. It's while supplies last, meaning if for whatever reason solid state drives would go into shortage and we can't get them, the sale is not going to be postponed. There's no rain checks or anything like that. Of course, you can't combine it with any other special offers or anything. You can't come in with a new customer coupon to have us fix a DC jack and then say, I want the upgrade special to the hard drive. It's only 1 discount per ticket. Most of you listening to the program now have already been in before, so you know where we're located in Lincoln, 27th and Pine Lake Road, Papillion. We're on 84th and Highway 370, and of course in Omaha, 168th and Burke. So check it out, guys. Those are the shops you can go to. That is the special. We're going to take a quick break here. I'm going to try to bang out some of these questions here on Facebook as well, because a lot of people are asking questions about the special, and we'll be back with more of Compute This coming up next. All right. Let me get logged in. It's hard. I got a poll here, too. I just realized. There we go. That's so much better. There was a poll in the video, and it was really bugging me. Like this poll right here. It was in the edge of the frame, and it was really like, I'm watching it. I keep looking at the poll.
Damn cameraman, huh?
Yeah. Who is the cameraman for Compute This, anyway? when Facebook makes you put in your password and you just haven't entered your password in so long you don't remember what it is. That just went through that. You've entered an old password. So now you keep track of my old passwords too? All right, let's see here. Scrolling down. We're almost there. All right, there I am. Okay, the same issue. Just installed it from the site and secure updated will keep it current. That's right. Let's see. Of course, it doesn't show me all of it. I love how Facebook only shows me the most recent comments. And it looks like Dennis Snyder was helping something out. Doesn't the PC have to be set to AHCI and trim for SSD? Yeah, Dennis. The trim is a setting that was introduced in Windows 7. All Windows 10 computers auto-detect solid-state drives and automatically enable trim. Also, the solid-state drives themselves have a version of trim built into the BIOS now, which is why the new ones last so much longer than the ones from a few years ago, because they don't, wear out the same area of the drive over and over again. All right, Bob, should you leave your laptop plugged in all the time? Is it bad for the laptop battery, or should I unplug it? Great question, Bob. Used to be back in the day you didn't want to leave it plugged in all the time because it was a different type of battery, but now with the lithium-ion batteries, you can leave it plugged in all the time. There's no memory effect anymore. The only thing that's hard on the battery, honestly, is letting it drain below 40% and then recharging it all the way up again. That's what the battery's supposed to do, but you only get about 200 of those cycles like that before the battery starts to lose its charging capability. Very small at first, more over time. All right, here we go, guys. All right, guys, welcome back into Compute This. My name is Thor Schrock. I'm the owner of the Schrock Innovations Computer Company. Service centers, as I mentioned, Lincoln, Omaha, Papillion, 866-496-8772, 866-496-8772. Those are the numbers to join us on the show today. And, of course, if you call in, ask a question about the sale that's going on or any other thing you might be having, make a comment, we'll put you in the drawing for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. Good, and this is a gift certificate, guys, so this is not a coupon, which means you can use it on anything at Schrock. It's as good as cash. You can even use it toward a solid-state upgrade if you so desire. So 866-496-8772. Got it there. All right, perfect. So, question, guys. Do you know the story of Schrock Innovations? Like, how it got started? I'm not going to bore you with all the stupid details, like all the dumb stuff. But after the bottom of the hour here, I'm going to tell you how this got started. And I'm going to tell you 20 years ago, I knew less about computers than you do right now. That's right. So for all of you out there who are like, I have this question and I don't want to call because it's a silly question. There's no such thing as a silly question, guys. I've lit computers on fire accidentally before. If I would have asked a silly question about, gee, what are these little metal posts for inside the computer? They're to keep the motherboard off that metal backplate so that when you apply power to it, it doesn't go wee, pop. They're called standoffs. Yeah. See, I learned that stuff the hard way. You don't have to learn those kind of things the hard way, guys. You can call into the program and we'll help you out right here. So 866-496-8772 is the number to call and join us on the program. But I'll share the details with you about what what we do at Schrock. And how and why we do what we do and how we got there. Also, we got some information coming up on the program today about the Consumer Electronics Show. Every year at Schrock, we try to do some things that are hardware. We try to do some things that are software. Last year was a big push on Drive Advisor and Secure Updater with some modernization of those systems. Last year in the hardware realm, we spent a lot of time on the 2018 holiday special desktop. It had a lot of new technology in it. We wanted to make sure we got that right. Also here in 2018, we did a lot of web-based stuff, a lot of stuff under the hood, behind the scenes that are laying the groundwork for things that are coming. So now here we are in 2019, and we've got some cool things that are coming. So we're going to tell you a little bit about what's going on there. We're trying to make our own wireless keyboard and mouse right now. We've got some good leads on some nice technology that we are going to be able to incorporate into those. But the cost of wireless keyboards and mice has gone through the roof. It is a ridiculous amount of money for a keyboard and mouse anymore. And so we're like, that's enough. Let's build our own because the cost to us is going up on wholesale, but the cost to make them isn't going up. So why is the price going up? I mean, it could be tariffs right now, but that's only 10% right now, so that shouldn't be too much. So we're going to talk about what's going on there as well. All right. On Facebook, Ron writes, can you recommend a program that will let me see a log of my programs using my bandwidth? I want to see if there is an unauthorized program running in the background. It's called a bandwidth sniffing utility, and there are lots of them out there that will monitor bandwidth based by specific program. Sometimes it'll also tell you what the programs are saying. So I've never actually used one before, but if I search for a bandwidth sniffer, let's see what it tells me. Free network sniffer. Monitor all of your network data. Let's see. What is a good sniffer to identify bandwidth hogs at work? So if you just do a Google search for bandwidth sniffer, which of course just comes naturally to everybody who wouldn't know to look for that, yeah, that will allow you to check and see what's going on in the background and what programs are using different things there on. Let's see. Jamie writes, a follow-up question about leaving laptops plugged in all the time. Earlier on Facebook, a customer listener had asked, is it okay to leave them plugged in all the time or does it hurt the battery? And yes, the newer laptops, you want to leave them plugged in all the time. I'm seeing the battery on my iPhone 7 is degrading. Is this normal or is it from being plugged in all night? 1.5 years old, down to 82% capacity. Nope, this is exactly what we were talking about with batteries. Lithium-ion batteries, you get about 200 charge-recharge cycles before you start seeing degradation. It's the natural life of the battery. So leaving it plugged in all the time actually doesn't hurt the battery. It's not plugging it in all the time that hurts the battery. Anytime your battery's charge goes below 40%, that's considered a charge-recharge cycle. And then the chemical reaction in the battery can only happen so many times before the battery can't react anymore, which is one of the things that Apple relies on. That's why they said, Apple said back in the day, remember when they throttled everybody's phones, the old phones? They made them slower so that as they slowed the phones down, we're doing this because your battery may not be able to deliver an appropriate charge and the phones could unexpectedly crash. We're doing this for you. Well, now we know from the financial results they were doing it to push people into upgrading to the new phone, because they're very, very, very reliant on that 2-year upgrade cycle. And one of the ways, an iPhone 7, you're almost 3 years now, depending on when you bought that 7. That came out 3 years ago. So as a result, in your case, if you're happy with your 7, I wouldn't replace the phone. I would get the battery replaced. The replacement battery in the iPhone. Now they have an iPhone battery replacement program right now that's still going on. I think it's going to, maybe it ended in the new year. I'm not sure when. But they were doing battery replacements for like $40 if you did them through Apple at the Apple Store. So that's something to look into. The other thing too is if you decide to get it done locally, battery replacement $60, $80. It's not a terrible thing. It's much cheaper than a new iPhone. Thanks for the call there, or the message, I guess, on Facebook. 866-496-8772. Joe, stay on the line. We got to take our bottom of the hour break. More when we come back next on Compute This. All right.
Oh, I'm sorry. That was Joanne.
Oh. Well, maybe I said Joe, and we'll be right back. Apparently it's Joanne on hold, not Joe. There's a difference there, I think.
Yeah.
Not as much as there used to be, apparently, but yeah. All right, let's see. So that's an example, guys. You can post a question on Facebook, and if I have a couple seconds in a break here where I'm trying to fill before I drop to the bottom of the hour, I can throw your question in there. Joanne's calling in, and she wants to know what's on sale right now.
She's looking to get a new computer, I think. Here.
Well, hard drives are on sale right now. New computers are not on sale right now. We just finished a new computer sale called the Holiday Special. You know, and this is one of the things as a business owner, you're like, when you walk into like Michael's or Hobby Lobby, and it's like always 40% off, always on sale, and you're like, do people actually believe that? Like, this is the price, and they wrote a fake price over here so they can mark it down 40%.
Oh, no, we don't have that. Well, this is KFAB.
I hear dead air.
So,
I hear dead air.
We're just looking for, like, in case you win the prize here.
I hear dead air. Dead air.
Oh.
Dead air.
Oh,
dead air.
I'm having one of those.
We're not supposed to have dead air, guys. It's not supposed to happen like that.
Okay, Gary, you got a phone number for me?
All right.
Okay.
I hear dead air. It's like I hear dead people. Oh, let's see. What else do we got here? So, I got a lot of stuff to do. I got the CES stuff to cover. I've got the story of Schrock to cover, which I could maybe dump that to an aftershock. That might be, maybe. We'll see. Let me know what you want me to cover, guys. I got the what's coming up at the Consumer Electronics Show. I've got the story of how Schrock started and what Thor lit on fire. And then I have an anecdotal example of a robot I can talk about. So let me know which one you want to hear. And that's the route I'll go when I come back from the break. See, this is like an interactive show. You guys get to... I throw the show prep in front of you, and you get to plan it out.
Put you on hold.
Oh, more news.
Quick as you can here, okay?
I thought we were done there for some reason.
You bet.
Oh, Thomas, that's a good question. That is a really good question, Thomas. Thank you for reminding me.
Massachusetts Democratic Senator speaking in Des Moines, Iowa Saturday last week, Warren announced she was forming an exploratory committee as she weighs a White House run.
All right.
Partial government shutdown now in a
What
16
the heck?
days. Some who work for Uncle Sam are getting some financial help.
The Office of Personnel Management is offering form letters to send to credit card companies and mortgage holders. The agency is advising employees who may be falling behind on bills to call creditors first to try to work out reduced payment plans and then follow up with letters via certified mail.
Fox's Rachel Sutherland. This is Fox News.
Why isn't that posted?
Now, the News Radio 1110 KFAB weather.
I hate Facebook sometimes.
Mostly cloudy and breezy across the area today. Temperatures around 48 degrees. We may see wind gusts up to 30 miles an hour at times. With
There we go.
showers and some drizzle in the late afternoon
Okay.
and evening hours. Overnight temperatures slowly dropping back to 39. Clearing skies on Monday with a high of 56. With Omaha's most accurate forecast.
Oh, Jenny.
First Alert meteorologist David Keller on News Radio 1110 KFAB.
All right. Here we go. And of course, Facebook is hiccuping on the camera right now, so I don't know if people are seeing this or not. Live video was interrupted and will resume shortly. Mm-hmm. Okay.
And having it be my final purchase, and I didn't know if they were still available or what we could do.
When you say you're thinking about buying one of our computers and making it your final purchase, that sounds rather ominous. Like it's gonna. Is there something I?
Always renting, yeah, you said 10 years.
Oh well.
Well into retirement by that time.
All right. So basically, the computers that we have, our desktops are all modular, and our laptops are all solid state. We call them solid state laptops. There's no such thing as a modular laptop, unfortunately. But all of our computers do come with the solid state drives that we're talking about here on the show today. So long and the short of it, guys, is we don't have any sales going right now on our computers. We just finished the 2018 holiday special, which was a great, big, amazing, huge sale that we had. Maybe it might have been more computer than you need, but the holiday specials are the computers that we say are designed to last 10 years. The regular Schrock modular computers, you're going to expect a 4 to 6 year lifespan out of those computers. Normal businesses expect their computers to last about 5 years before they replace them, which is why business computers cost more than consumer computers, because consumer computers are literally made of the junkiest junk components you can possibly buy, and they're only designed to last 18 months. So a lot of small business users will buy a consumer computer at the box store to use for their business, not realizing the components that go into that are different than the components that, like what Schrock puts into our modular computers. Basically at Schrock, when you're buying one of our computers, you're getting a business grade computer. We just don't call it that. So it's kind of neat.
Well, I've been very fortunate. I've only used about 3 or 4 computers over the years. I must treat them very nicely because I don't really, when I start getting glitches or running too slow is when I change them out. But all of I have 3 older ones that are still in use, and I've not got very fortunate. Research and latest equipment in them, not just box.
Perfect.
Well, I won't mention who I bought them from, but
That's okay.
anyway, I do go ahead and get the latest and greatest, and
Well, perfect.
It might have been quite a while, but I've only spent probably up to $700, I think,
Mhm.
on those. But then I have to tweak it. I use QuickBooks, and then I use the church software that has QuickBooks Desktop. I have a church software that's in the cloud, and I just need to get my storage files in the cloud because I have a lot of businesses, number one, that could access that data a little easier, and then I could be in multiple places and still find what I have on my home computer somewhere, but I've never experienced the cloud, so.
Gotcha. Well, the cloud is just a fancy way of saying somebody else's computer, and so that's so yeah. So as far as that goes, honestly, for what you're looking for, are you thinking desktop or laptop?
Well, I've had laptops for years, and I wouldn't be opposed to having a desktop, especially if I have things in the cloud. Because right now, I transport my laptop, and that's supposedly not the best thing to do, and it's better to leave them stationary.
Well, they're portable. I mean, the reason that people say it's not a good thing to do is because the mechanical hard drives are sensitive to shock. So moving them around, which is one of the big reasons why we're talking about solid state upgrades today. So maybe I'm not trying to say I don't want your business here, Joanne, but maybe we should look at upgrading the hard drives in your computers to solid states to breathe more life into the computer that you have before you decide to spend $700, $800, $900 on a new computer.
Okay,
I mean, it's a possibility.
I am open to that suggestion.
All right, well, stop it. We're open today. We're open Saturday from 10 to 8, Sunday from noon to 5 in all the service centers. Of course, Monday through Friday we're open from 10 to 5, or excuse me, 10 to 8 o'clock as well. But we actually have catalogs in the service center too that allow you to look through all the computers that we have. And of course, we can custom build anything you need. So if there's something there that we try to get you as close to what you need in the catalog as we can, and then we modify from there if need be. So I'd appreciate it if you stop by and take a look at what we got. We'd be happy to help you out, Joanne. Thanks a lot for the call today. We got you in the drawing for that $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate as well. 866-496-8772. Gary's on the line. He has a question about hard drives for Macs. How can I help you today, Gary?
A couple things. One, Apple battery replacement special for your iPhone.
Mhm.
That ends December 31st.
No, I thought that might have had a deadline at the end of the year.
Yeah, there's a December 31st from now. The cost is $79 at Apple, which still isn't terrible.
No, that's about market standard.
So that takes care of that. Another question that I have, however, is I have a Mac Pro laptop. The mid-2011 version, it actually works perfectly fine. I'm happy with it. Is that something you
Callers are saying they can hear the caller. So if you could turn that up, they might be able to hear the caller a little better.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I lost you there for that last couple seconds. So can you repeat that one more time for me?
Well, I have a MacBook Pro 2011 version, and you're talking about your solid state upgrade promotion or
Mhm.
whatever special. Is that something you would do on that device?
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, not at all. There's no such thing. Basically, if it has a hard drive in it, we can replace that hard drive with a solid-state drive. Now, of course, Keith on Facebook's going to comment now, I've got a Windows 98 machine from, 2016 that has an IDE hard drive. Could you put a solid-state in that? Yes, Keith, we could put a solid-state in that. You wouldn't want us to, but we could. So you're right. There are some, super-duper ancient computers. If your computer was around when, the first George Bush was in office, or even Bill Clinton for that matter, you probably don't want to put a solid-state hard drive in it, okay? But if we're going by presidential politics, if you've got anything going back to second President Bush, so that'd be second President Bush, you got Obama, then you can go right into the Trump years. If you have a computer from any time in that period, a solid-state drive would markedly improve its performance.
Okay, so this is an Obama-era computer. So Obama drive in.
An O drive. Oh golly, here we go. It's always got to come down to political stuff, but that's why I started listening to financial radio. I'm just tired of it. But no, absolutely, we can put a solid state hard drive in that computer. We would clone everything over for you. So when we clone the content over, you wouldn't notice anything different between the two. It would appear to be the exact same thing when you get it back, which is kind of funny because it's like, here, hand me your computer. I'm going to do some who would you befriend magic to it, and then I'm going to give it back to you and tell you how much better it is. But it's going to look exactly the same. Isn't that awesome? No, actually, you're going to notice it is markedly faster. From the point you press the power button to the point that you're actually on your desktop and able to hit the dock and do things, you're going to notice it is so much faster than it was before.
Okay, thank you.
No problem, Gary. Thanks for the call today. We appreciate it. We got you in the drawing as well for a $25 Schrock Innovations gift certificate. Somebody pointed out on Facebook during the break, hey, what if I don't live around you? And the answer to that is yes. We're going to post on Facebook right now. I'm going to put it up there right now so it's current for everybody. This is the page on our website that was going to be linked in an email that goes out to our customers. It's also linked from from Facebook ads that are out right now. But that tells you exactly how to do that. If you want to ship your computer into us, all you need to do is mail it to the Papillion Service Center. That's the Papillion Service Center. You can find that on our website on the contact page, SchrockInnovations.com. We ask that you please put a note in the box telling us that, hey, this is my computer. My name is Jane Smith. I live here. This is my phone number. I would like a solid state upgrade. Because we've in the past had people just ship us a computer. Then they're like, well, I saw that it was delivered. I figured I'd call when it got delivered. Don't do that. Put your name on it at least so that we can at least set it aside and say that's Jane Smith's computer. But the solid state, we had another gentleman who said he could drive in and be in for the afternoon. Solid state upgrades they're actually pretty quick to do, 1 to 2 hours. The trouble is we don't know how many we're going to be doing. This is the first time that we've talked about this on the radio show. So if you have 1 to do, it's 1 to 2 hours. If you have 2 to do, it's 1 to 2 hours. If you have 20 to do, and the phone is ringing with customers asking you questions about whether their computer is done, and other people are coming in with regular broken stuff too, it could be a day. You see where I'm going? Before you can get it back. We move as fast as we can. Each service center also has about 20 solid-state hard drives in stock, various sizes and capacities. We have them coming in every day, so we're trying to replenish in real time. But if we get a run of 20 people that come in today, for example, which could very well happen, between today and tomorrow, if we get a run of 20 people that come in for this sale, we'll be low on hard drives, and it'll take a day for us to get more hard drives. So then that's a day, right? So I don't want to promise you that it can be done in an hour to 2, but if you want to ship them in, you can ship them in to us. If you drop your computer off at any of our service centers, right now the Omaha Service Center actually has the best turnaround time and availability of bench spots. So if you're trying to decide between Papillion and Omaha here in the Omaha metro area, Omaha would be a faster turnaround time, more likely. Lincoln is amazing. They're out of queue. There's no queue there. They have open bench spots, so you can drop your computer off and get that solid state upgrade done really quickly. All right, 866-496-8772. Before we take this final break, I mentioned that this is the 20th year anniversary of Schrock. And 20 years ago, I had a computer that I had won in a writing contest in high school. My parents, we weren't poor, but we weren't rich either. And computers were expensive back in the day. The Tandy computers were $1,500, $1,800 in 1980s dollars. So they were expensive. So, we didn't have a computer in the house. And I wanted one badly. And, my mom was a very honest person. When you're a little kid and you go to your mom, Mommy, if I save my $3 a week allowance, do you think I could save enough money to buy a new computer? And to this day, I remember her looking me right in the eye and being like, no. It's just crushed me right there. No, but she was realistic, so I realized I was going to have to find a different way to get a computer. Well, there was a writing contest. I was a journalism student, and you could write a sports story about something and enter it into the Omaha Racers Omaha World Herald writing contest. So I did, and I won an IBM Aptiva computer, a desktop model running Windows 3.1. And it was awesome. Oh, it was fun. The dial-up internet was brand new. It had a copy of CompuServe pre-installed, if that tells you anything. And so I used that computer for a while. Windows 95 came out. I upgraded to Windows 95. Plug and Play was supposed to be, that was 1995. You could plug any device into the computer and it just magically worked. Is there Plug and Play yet? I mean, I still think I plug some devices into my computer and it doesn't know what to do with them. So not quite there yet, but it definitely wasn't there in 95. But the hype was there. But then eventually, as what happens is you go to Windows 95 and then Windows 98, all the increasing demands on my computer, all the patches, all the wear and tear, it made the computer slow down. And we didn't have solid-state hard drives back then. So how do you get it? I couldn't afford it. I was just a college student then. How do you afford to buy a whole new computer? Well, you don't. So I decided I was going to go to the newspaper and buy junked out computers and take the parts out of those computers and add them to my computer, because surely more parts would mean a faster computer. Well, then I realized that all these parts don't seem to be compatible. The memory doesn't quite fit in those holes, and why does everybody sell these stupid small memory chips? They're all like 128 megabyte. They're all 32 megabyte chips. I need like some 250s or something, like something megabytes. Isn't that silly? I need some bigger chips or I don't know. And so then I'm like, well, I have all these extra parts over here, and I need that part for my computer, but I don't have that part. What if I took these parts over here, built them together into a computer that's a pretty respectable machine, and I sold that to somebody else who couldn't afford to buy a brand new computer, and then I took the money from that and bought the part that I needed for my computer? Well, I was working on doing this, and I was upgrading an old Compaq. My grandma wanted a computer, of all things. She wanted to write her stories on the computer because she used to write them on a typewriter. And so I'm building this Compaq computer for my grandma that she used for years. And I'm trying to figure out how to program or change something. I needed to get into the BIOS of the computer, and I didn't know how to do it. We didn't have the internet back then to just Google it and look it up. So I called Computer Renaissance. They're not in Omaha or Lincoln anymore. But I called Computer Renaissance in Lincoln, and they told me, well, we'll tell you how to get in there. You just bring that computer in. It'll be $55 for the hour of labor, and we'll show you how to get into the BIOS. And I thought, oh my gosh, guys, I mean, I know it's a key on the keyboard, right? And for $55, I'm a poor college student here. For $55, I'll try every key on the keyboard till I find one that works. It was F10. Thank you very much. Got it. But that made an impression on me. That is why people don't like going to computer stores or computer repair centers. You're treated like you don't know anything. And it may be true that you don't know anything. I didn't know anything, but I don't need to be treated like I don't know anything. I didn't think that was a very good value. $55 so you could tell me what key to press. And in that moment, that is when something dawned upon me that you don't have to know all the stuff. You just have to have the service. And of course, you do need to know how to do the stuff. But at that point in time, I didn't know how to do this stuff, so it was very comforting to say, you don't need to know that. You just need to know, let's dump the last break. You just need to know how to do the repair, or how to make the customer understand in English what you're doing and why you're doing it. And then there's a lot of forgiveness on how long it takes to get you done. So we started Schrock with the mentality, we don't quit on a problem until it's fixed. Whatever we have to do, we don't quit. And a lot of that was because we didn't always know what to do. So the first few years were a little rough. We were only charging $25 an hour for labor, though. So, I mean, we were giving you a pretty good discount back in the day because we didn't know what we were doing. But as we learned over time, as we got better at what we did, the service improved more because now we had the knowledge to back up the actual service procedures. And then we started adding people and training people, and our location grew, and we got larger. We had to move again. And now we're looking at moving even again in Lincoln to a new location because we're just growing so fast. The long and the short of it, guys, is that Schrock Innovations was built to be a service company. And along the way, I have learned a lot. And everybody asked me, how did you get into this? Did you go to school for this? No, I didn't. I learned it the same way I ask you guys to learn it. Don't be afraid to press a button. Don't be afraid to make a mistake. Especially when you've got someone that you can call, where if it's a simple button press to fix a problem, we're not going to charge you, $110 in labor to come in and have us show you where the button is. We're going to come in and say, like yesterday, I had a call in the Papillion Service Center. It was my day off. And I had to clean out some graphics cards I was selling on eBay. And all the, the vacuums and everything at the shop for blowing computers out. So I just went to the shop, and of course I get a call. And of course everyone was on the phone, so I answer the phone because, I'm there. I'm human. I own the place, whatever. So I answer the phone. And the customer's like, hey, my computer won't come out of airplane mode. And I spend 15, 20 minutes on the phone trying to walk this person through how to get their computer's Wi-Fi back up. Turns out their Wi-Fi chipset was burnt out. It wasn't in airplane mode. But nowhere else in town is going to spend that time on the phone with you. I got an email about Jacob in the Papillion Service Center. Customer wants to tell me about how great job he did because he spent 2 hours on the phone with me and solved all my problems. Thank you, Jacob. And as a business owner, I was like, 2 hours? What the heck? But no, this person had done business with us. They had questions about the work that we had done. And Jacob spent the requisite amount of time to make sure that customer felt good about their purchase and got all their questions answered and got everything done that needed to be done. That's the kind of company that we built. Now, are we perfect? No, we're not perfect. Nobody's perfect, but we have customer service mistakes that we make. Yesterday I took a complaint call because one of my techs didn't write any notes. And so no one knew what to tell the customer. So everybody told the customer something different. All the things were right, but they were all different. And the customer was getting a little frustrated that they thought they were getting the runaround because everyone was telling them something different. Completely understandable, completely trainable. Guys, you got to take notes. Come on. New online system is going to fix that for a lot of reasons. So the long and the short of it, guys, is that's how Schrock Innovations got started. That's how I got started. And so now I sit here and do the radio show, and I try to help you guys do stuff. And, for example, how many of you know how big of a solid-state hard drive you would need for your computer? Well, you go down on that little file folder down in the bottom of your screen, and you left-click on it. And this is going to open up the File Explorer window. Even the way we explain things now, it's a step-by-step. You have to confirm on the screen what the customer is supposed to see, so that if they don't see that, they'll say something. Because otherwise, you'll get halfway through the description, and then they're like, wait a minute, I don't see that. And then all of a sudden, you don't know what step they messed up on. So even the way that we explain things has been educated over time. All right, so once you have the File Explorer window open, you left-click on this PC. It's on the left-hand side. And this is going to show you a list of all of the hard drives available on your computer. See the confirmation step there? Now here, you're going to see a C drive, Local Disk C. Local Disk C is the hard drive that we're going to replace during the solid-state upgrade sale. So on mine right now, I have 769 gigabytes free of 930 gigs on my solid-state. So that means I am using, approximately 240 gigs of data on this drive. So if I was going to if I was going to replace this with another solid-state, the solid-state that I would put in it would have to be at least a 500 gig solid-state or larger. So that's how we determine what you need when you come in and ask us, how big of a one do I need? Solid states start at 150, guys. So we're talking about literally breathing new life into your computer, getting, in essence, this computer, after we do the solid state hard drive, it will be faster than it was the day you bought it. For $150 or, it starts at 150. Most people only use about 60, 70, 80 gigs of data on their drive, so a small solid state is okay for them. So yeah, that's what we're doing, guys. That's the sale over at Schrock right now. And let's jump back into those phones real quick. I think we got time for one more here. Dale, welcome to the program. How can I help you today on Compute This? Oh yeah, absolutely. The solid state upgrade, anything that has any computer that has a hard drive in it, we can replace it. So it applies to desktops, it applies to laptops, it applies to Macs, all-in-one computers. Doesn't matter, we can put a solid state in there for you. If we open it up and there's already a solid state in there and it won't benefit from it, we're not going to charge you anything for looking. But like I said, it'll literally breathe new life into the computer. And the sale right now, for those of you who are just joining us, is that if you decide you want to upgrade your computer to a solid state hard drive, which I would highly, highly, highly recommend. It's the most popular upgrade that we do all day long in the store. No labor. This month only, no labor. Of course, asterisk, not combinable with other offers while supplies last. If something goes wrong and the sun crashes into the earth, we reserve the right to end the sale early, blah, 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 blah. But no, Gary or Dale, it would be easy to do. All we would have to do is basically it's actually easier to replace the solid state in a desktop than it is in a laptop. So, yeah, absolutely, we can do that for you.
I have a 2011 holiday special, so...
Oh, yeah.
It's working great, but, I wouldn't mind upgrading it.
No, that you have the hybrid hard drive. So basically that was the first dabbling into solid state, where it's got a tiny little solid state partition on top of a rotating disk hard drive. So yeah, you would, and that partition is probably very, very worn down by now. But you would, well, the old solid states, they would wear out because the drive would write over the same space every time. And so the cells are only good for so many writes and rewrites, and eventually they wear out. And they lose their speed or capability. So yeah, you would see 3-4 times speed improvement easily. I mean, that's what I'm comfortable. That's what I'm comfortable quoting you on the radio. It could be a lot more than that.
Perfect. I'm bringing it in.
All right, Dale. All right, so we're open on Saturday from 10 until 8. Sunday, we're open noon to 5 in the service centers. Of course, like I said, you can ship it in if you want to. If you can't make it in today, maybe you're going into church, you got stuff going on, I understand totally, and you want to get in on this, I would recommend trying to come in on Monday. Monday, Alfonso is back from his, 3-4 week vacation, it feels like. So when Alfonso is back, the emails will fly. And when the emails fly, that's when things are going to get real scary. All right, guys, thank you for joining us on the program today. Today's winner is Gary. Congratulations, Gary. You're on hold here, but you were in the drawing. We'll get to you here in just a second off the air. And I want to thank you guys for 20 awesome years at Schrock Innovations, and we're going to celebrate all year long with some crazy sales. This is just the beginning. We'll talk to you again next Sunday for another exciting edition of Compute This. That was pretty good for not having the clock up. I didn't have a clock there. That was touch. That was just feel. Doing it on feel. So now the question is, do I need to end the broadcast for the Aftershock because we're already live? And I don't have to... Wow, it popped up a calendar reminder and it paused the broadcast. So apparently if people call me, it'll just stop the broadcast. So that's no good. Okay, guys. So we're going to do an Aftershock here. Can we turn that down now? Now we don't have to have it loud. So here in the Aftershock, guys, I got some calls to take here, so stick with me for just a second. Gary is on hold, and Chuck is on hold, so I want to try to get their calls. They took the time to call, and they were in the drawing. So at least I got to talk to Gary and congratulate him. Thanks for holding, Gary. Are you still with me? Hey, congratulations, you sniper. You jumped in there and took the $25 gift card. There you go. Is this the first time in your life you've won anything? Yep, people on the radio like, I've never won anything in my life before. Like, yeah, it's a pretty sad life there, kid. Yeah, geez. Like, not even like Duck, Duck, Goose or anything? What can I do for you, Gary? Okay. Gotcha. Okay. Right. Yep. The 20% of the updates always do have an issue, but yeah, drivers are a pretty common one. So yeah, especially if you were going from Windows 7 to Windows 10 for some reason. Gotcha. Okay. No, they're not. YouTube isn't purposely slowing down the audio. My guess is that something can't keep up with the stream for whatever reason. So there's a number of possibilities. The first possibility is that your sound card. The only reason usually why drivers don't come across on a Windows 10 upgrade when you're going from one version of Windows 10 to another version of 10 is because the sound hardware is technically not compatible with the new version. So you can still force the drivers to install though. So my guys may have actually force installed the drivers to get it to give you a basic sound capability, but it could be that the sound card itself is not actually functioning up to its normal level. So I mean, I don't want to pretend like there's a magic bullet fix called a solid state hard drive here, but say if you've already got one, then yeah, for sure. My suggestion would be we take a look at getting you basically a sound card, a new sound card. Now, before we jump down that road, we of course would want to see it on the bench so that we can take a look at it and make sure that we're not recommending hardware when you don't need hardware. If it's a software thing, it's a software thing. But I can guarantee you the audio is not stuttering because YouTube wants to charge you money. It's definitely something on the hardware side or the software side on your end. All right. Hey, no worries. Have a great afternoon. Bye-bye. All right. Looks like Chuck dropped, so we don't have to do that call. All right. So let me come back here. Oh, I remember upgrading to a 9600 baud modem, and then 14.4. Yeah, that's like fax speed. Wow. Oh yeah, the other day, so we had to fax something to a government agency, and they required us. It was the employment division of the state of Nebraska. They required it to be a fax. Like we could not email it. It had to be a fax, and I'm like, we don't even have a fax machine anymore. I think I even canceled our eFax subscription because we never fax anybody anything anymore. I don't know. So anyway, state of Nebraska, apparently you have to fax. All right. Yep, that's right, Jeff. All self-taught. Self-taught is underestimated. A lot of people want to see credentials. They want to see, like, 1 where did you learn to do this? How did you make this happen? You know, and a lot of times the easiest answer is just I started. That's the biggest step. Every journey begins with a single step. But no, that's the truth. That's the truth. All right, let's see. If I have a partitioned 1 terabyte C and D, how will that be calculated? Great question, Ray. So if you have a 1 terabyte hard drive that is partitioned into a C and a D drive, rather than just looking at the size of the C drive, we would look at the space you're using on the C and the D drive. And then when we clone your drive over, it will usually solid state that you get is going to be smaller. You can get. We had somebody get a quote for a 4 terabyte solid state the other day. It's a $1,000 drive, but you know, geez, a 2 terabyte is a $500 drive to give you an idea. So basically, the 1 terabyte drive, you're looking at like $300 for a good one, $350 somewhere in there. So basically, what we're doing here is when we clone everything over, we're going to keep the partition ratio size the same. So if you had a 50-50 split on the new computer, it will be a 50-50 split. So 40-30 will be a 40-30, you know, with other random, those aren't the only partitions on the drive. That's why it doesn't add up to 100. There's like your recovery partition, your boot partitions, like different little tiny things. They're small, but they take up a little bit of space, and we account for that in the calculation. Alrighty. What did you do to learn so much about computers? Did you do it by reading books or information on the internet? Richard, there wasn't any internet when I had to learn this stuff. It was the mother of invention, necessity. I had a customer that would come in with a problem. I'd never seen it before. I smiled and said, absolutely, sir, we'll get that taken care of for you right away. And I went in the back and I'm like, oh my gosh. And I went through all the menus and I go through, and I finally figure out the solution. We write it down in a book that we kept. And then when people tend to have the same problems. So then when other people came in with similar problems, we were able to help them out with that. How much for a 256 drive? Basically, the drives go 120, 240, 480, and then it goes. Then you get into the really expensive drives at the 500, 480 to 500. We usually just go with the 480 because it's cheaper. But the 500, the 1 terabyte. Things like that. For a 240 gig hard drive, you're looking at $200 at Schrock. That is for a high quality drive using current generation memory. A lot of times you can go on to the websites online. I'm going to get me a King Dion hard drive. What is King Dion? Well, when I went to a data recovery seminar last year, you might remember I talked about that on the show here. They went through and said one of the big trends that we're going to see in data recovery in the next year is everybody buying crap solid state hard drives and then having them fail. And he went through all the brands on the market. And basically, the only ones that have their own technology, there is Samsung, Kingston, SanDisk, Western Digital. Those are the 4. If you're going to pick a solid state, those are the 4 you choose from. Those are the only 4 solid states that we buy at Schrock. Those are the only 4 we'll do. We'll shop between them to figure out which one is the cheapest at the time. But you know, we don't buy ADATA. We don't buy King Dion. We don't buy PNY. Because basically all these drives are created with it's called I can't think of the word now. It's a resource kit. But basically, a solid state chip maker says, here's a resource kit on how to make your own solid state hard drive, guys. And then all these companies use the same API to create a solid state hard drive. So all their drives are all the same, no matter whose brand you buy. It's all crap. It's all garbage. They're using outdated memory chips, and they're just counting on the fact that your computer is so wickedly slow right now that if we went from wickedly slow to a really, really fast hard drive, how are you going to know if it's 10 times faster or only 7 times faster? You know, what do you care? That's what we do at Schrock, is we make sure you get the one that's going to make it 10 times faster. What about a Crucial SSD? Same thing. Same thing. They're not an actual. They don't have their own tech. They're using somebody else's tech, and they're putting a Crucial label on it. Crucial. We got burnt bad on Crucial. Holiday special I don't know how many years ago that was, but we put Crucial solid states in all of them because Crucial is a really recognized brand, and they all failed. They all went bad, and we talked to Crucial. And Crucial said, well, yeah, we're not going to issue a recall, but if you send them to us, we'll replace them all. So they weren't going to recall them because it would be too expensive, but they should have recalled all of them. All right. the sale should be going all month long. The only thing that could possibly go wrong is if we end up unable to get solid state drives for some reason. So you should leave. We're not doing reservations, unfortunately. I do. You have the flu in your house. Please don't bring that in. I really appreciate that. But don't sweat it. Don't sweat it. Fever. Don't worry about it. There were drives available last month. There'll be drives available next month. We expect this to go the whole month long, so there's not a huge rush to get in. But what's going to happen is the normal sale anatomy will happen. We're going to get punched right at the beginning. Then it's going to taper down in the middle. At that point, we will increase advertising. We're going to add some TV and some radio on other stations as well. And then at the end of the sale, as the deadline approaches for the end of the month, we are going to get absolutely destroyed. And then there'll be weeping of gnashing of tears on February 1st when people realize they missed the sale. I didn't know until the last day. Sorry. All right. I got to roll, guys. I've got to get going here, but I want to thank you all for joining the show. I appreciate it. And then we will talk to you all again next Sunday. Is Trim a BIOS setting? No, Trim is a technology that's built into the hard drives. Either the hard drive, a solid-state hard drive is either Trim capable or Trim not capable. All the new hard drives are Trim capable. Trim basically makes sure the hard drive doesn't use the same memory cells over and over and over. It spreads the usage out over the drive to increase the drive's life. Thanks, guys. We'll talk to you soon. Have a great afternoon.